Do you know, I was 21 years old. I had been in church all of my life. I'd heard many, many sermons. I'd read the Bible from cover to cover in the King James Version, if you don't mind. I memorized huge chunks of scripture, but I had never heard God's voice speaking to me personally. So I knew God in the same way that you might know the Queen of England through the pages of a magazine. I knew a lot about God, but I didn't know what God sounded like. And then I met a friend, and she talked about God as if he was her next door neighbour. God said this, God said that. I'm like, why is God always talking to you and not to me? And then my question was, well, if God can speak to me, what does he sound like? Does he speak in a big, booming voice or a soft, mystical whisper? Does he speak with a Kiwi accent? Or does he speak Australian? And then if I did hear him speaking, how would I know it was him? Isn't that the question? Because I've heard lots of stories about God speaking to people, but they're not always good. A few years ago, the leader of the Boko Haram terrorist organisation in Nigeria said after he had kidnapped 250 teenage girls that God told him to do it. In the 90s, an ex-pastor thought he'd heard God tell him to shoot dead an abortion doctor. But then there's less serious stories that you hear. God told me where to park my car. God told me what socks to wear. How do I know if it's God?